Uh-oh. Hold on, Bone. What's up? You want that T-shirt King commercial, don't you? I know what's going on here. I know what's going on here. See, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
you can't
switched
go.
it up. And we got
You gotta
5
stick to
viewers.
tradition,
Hold on,
man.
check game. What's up? This T-shirt King. What's up? This T-shirt Kings 247.com. I recently researched all the other internet sites that sell shirts like we do. And by far, we are the cheapest. With us, you order 20 shirts, you get 60% off. You order 50 shirts, you get 65% off. It's hard for me to properly articulate the deal you're getting because it's so damn. T-shirt Kings247.com, 937-603-4494. Whatever you need, we bring it right to your door. What's up, everybody, man? Welcome to For Shits and Giggles Wednesday edition, where we're going to get a chance to chop it up about some social issues and talk about music a little bit and just kind of like just discuss life in general, and we got very interesting topics. Just as an opportunity to expand and get more people inside the tent, especially our women. I think that the backbone of any society is definitely going to be women. And without women, we can't do nothing. So we, of course, want women to be able to participate in For Shits and Giggles and get a chance to just talk about something that they familiar with, relationships, so on and so forth. So for all the women that are in the chat and the comments right now, please make sure that you participate by commenting as much as possible. And for everybody that's in here, please like this video so we can get deep up in the algorithm. But I'm Ahava Elian. I got my brother TA in the middle, and I got my cousin Remy G on the right.
Yes, sir.
What's happening?
Building. What's up with my brothers, man?
And everything good today. Everything good. Looking forward to having some conversation about something rather than just sports to show that we are versatile and can do more things. So got some conscious and good conversation.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it.
So I think last night we got into a discussion. We watched a video of a kid fighting an elderly man that was like simply at work. And then we start trying to kind of like reason why these things happen. And then the subject of music did come up. And when we're talking about music and entertainment in general, I mean, it expands past music, even into like movies and television and so on and so forth. But when we're digesting this stuff, we're trying to figure out if it really has an effect or if people are using it as an excuse, or what is the actual science behind music, violence in the community, and also conflict in relationships. Meaning, does music, like when a woman is listening to a Cardi B, all right, or a woman is listening to a Nicki Minaj, and they're hearing these messages of men are cheaters, men don't ain't no man good, men are scrubs, this, that, and the third. Or when a man is hearing bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, and that's constantly getting pushed into their psyche, does it actually become a part of their perspective and how they see life and how they see relationships and how they should be treating their partner? So after that small breakdown of like kind of like just this particular subject, I want to get you guys' viewpoint on how does music affect people, and especially Black people.
Well, I think it's, with all of us sort of growing up in hip-hop, we came along when hip hop was born. I think we are equipped to talk about, how it's transitioned and sort of changed, and the messaging has changed over time. And I think that there is some validity and some truth behind the music. If you're taking it in and you keep reinforcing these negative messages, it can't have an impact. Sort of the same way that reinforcing positive messaging can have a positive impact. I think the music, if the question is, can it can it shift or sort of alter behavior? I think that the answer to that is yes, to put it bluntly. But I think the music that you listen to, ultimately, it is a choice too. I mean, you do have a decision to make as to what you're going to spend time listening to. And, one that came up when, NWA came out and all that, we loved that. And it was, very controversial at the time. We were young when 2 Live Crew first came out, and the lyrics were considered extremely lewd. And, it was what it was at the time. But now, looking back, I do think that you can say that there was some dangers that we couldn't have foreseen back then when we look at where the music has gone and the industry has gone. And I don't think that it's by accident that we are here, because I think each generation you want to try to do something a little bit more extreme than the next to show how real, or maybe not even real, but I think that it just continues to get more extreme. I think that's a better word to describe it. It's just going to keep getting more and more extreme. And I think it does now. As an older individual, it's not the best. I can say that. And I think we, as some of the statesmen, when it comes to just hip hop, and I'll try to keep it in the realm of the hip hop world, we have to take ownership in that.
So, yeah, I look at music from all the way around the board, and I'm not just going to generalize it with hip hop. I'll talk about with all music, but I think when you kind of listen to the music back in the day and listen to the music, and if Pops is on here, maybe he could chime in and say what to have any opinion as far as what I'm saying. As far as the music in the 60s and the 70s, I think it was more led about love. You know what I'm saying? You had the Temptations, the Four Tops, and those type of groups, and the My Girls, and then the music was more kind of a party music with the groups that were dancing together and synchronized and stuff like that. Then the 70s, I think in the 70s kind of came, even though we was young there, you still had a love vibe with some, but then you had a lot more of thing where drugs were starting to come into the music industry and stuff like that. And music took a little bit of a change then into the 80s. And it still love music though, you still had a lot of the R&B, the love music, and even when hip hop was starting, hip hop was fun, or just talking about what was being seen in society and everything. So even when you had the NWAs or the ghetto boys and this and that, they were just giving stories about kind of what they were seeing in their neighborhoods when they was growing up. Then I think the 90s came in, which a lot of us loved that era of hip hop and R&B. Music got really over sexualized there. You know what I'm saying? Where the point where it started to be where it wasn't played off in music. You know what I'm saying? When in music in early days, even songs that were pertaining to sex or things like that, it was hid in the words. It wasn't just as direct as what it started to now be. And now I think it's kind of out of, saying it is where anybody, make music and you can say whatever it is you want, which is good. That I don't necessarily think artists should be censored, but it does have a play in society. And I think it has a play in relationships. So when you have women, like you said, when men make certain songs, it's over sexualizing women, and it might be viewed of how men look at women in just a sexual way. But then is it cool that where women make songs that we're basically saying that they don't need men, and just pay my bills, and you ain't did this or that, or even with Jasmine Sullivan. So like when we talk about last night, where you talked about what do we hold NBA Youngboy and his music accountable for the violence that took place at his concert? Well, then we also got to turn and ask that same question: do we hold a Jasmine Sullivan responsible for when a woman go out and take a bat and start busting out windows out of cars and all that type of stuff? So it's a two-way street with that. So if we're gonna ask the accountability on it, it's gonna have to go both ways with everybody. But I think the music has definitely changed over the years.
Okay, help me out. And I'm out of the loop. When did Jasmine Sullivan tell people to knock people's windows out?
You don't
She got
remember
a
her
song to
song?
say that?
Yeah, I bust the windows out your car. That's the name of the song.
See, I'm out the loop, man. I don't even know about no. What? That's crazy.
Yeah, that,
Well, yeah,
I'll
that
say this. This is how I think, man. You know, I rapped, you know what I mean? And I think that when I was rapping, it was not on purpose to be trying to persuade people to like I wasn't purposely working for wickedness. Like I didn't have it in my mind like, man, I'm going to go out and then write a wicked rap. Okay, I was pretty much just rapping like how I learned the rap game. Okay, this is what we talk about in rap. A lot of this is like, I'll say this with Tupac, man. Tupac is like a big brother to me. Like, man, I really feel like I know Pac, and I love Pac so much. All right, 100%. But just me being a grown man now, analyzing what Pac was teaching us as kids, some of it was good and some of it was bad. Pac, I think that Pac injected what's called realism into music, right? Keeping it real. This thing about keeping it real, keeping it real. And from you keeping it real, you wasn't allowed to write lyrics anymore that was just about telling a story. No, you really had to be doing the gangster stuff, or you was a studio gangster. You really had to be selling drugs, or else you was just a fake N-word. So with Pac, I think that it changed how we approach music, how we consume music, and what we're supposed to do with the information that we receive, right? And so this keeping it real has led to many rappers rapping about the crimes that they actually commit, as I did, okay? And once you start doing that, now you're telling on yourself under the perspective of you're keeping it real. So like we gotta look at like kind of like how we got to why this music is affecting us a little bit different than, let's say, horror film or something else might affect other communities, because there's a lot of wickedness that's taking place in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, movies, so on and so forth, right? But with us, we're taught from our rappers, from our celebrities, when this is where parenting comes involved. Like, you got to teach your kids that this stuff is not real. Like, even though they're saying they're being real, this is not a real way to approach life. And certainly, if you are hustling in the streets and you are doing this and that, you should never get on a song and admit to committing crimes, because it would be good police work to listen to what you do and investigate if what you're saying is actually true. So to me, with our music, I think that we just consume it a little bit different, and we digest it, and we actually feel like the stuff that these people that are rapping, they're very cool. And in order for us to be like them, then we should do the stuff that they do. And then they flash so much money and luxury, riches all in your face. And you say, damn, that's the way. That's the way, you know? So I love Pac so much, but as a grown man, and I'm sure if Pac would have got the opportunity to mature, he would have turned into the man we all knew that Pac could actually be, a real leader. I mean, Pac had a lot of he just had a lot of drive. You know what I'm saying? A lot of drive. But I want to pass the mic to somebody else and let you guys chime in.
So, because listen to what you said, and you're correct in there. with how music can influence you and knowing that stuff isn't real. But the thing is that we have artists, some of our mainstream artists who've said that in their song. So I don't know if you remember the song that Scarface and Ice Cube had when they said, N word, don't believe that song. Gangsters don't live that long.
Right.
So you have artists in here that's telling you that not to believe that. And so and with Pac, I view Pac in a different way because Pac upbringing from the Black Panthers and stuff like that, and the message that he was coming with was a little different. And even when you look at like when people hear him always saying with the thug life tatted on his chest, on his stomach, it was an acronym to that stood for the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. So I never looked at Pac as a gangster.
He was. I think Pac said that shit after he tatted that on his. He got that.
You think he was lying?
That shit up. Yes. Thug life, nigga. That shit meant thug life. That's what it meant. But he thought of something better. At least he had the consciousness to say, I don't want to just lead everybody down this road. So let me make some shit up. But thug life is thug life.
Well, even before he put thug life on his chest, he had a song that said in there, never ignorant getting goals accomplished is what niggas mean. Yeah. So niggas. And that was before he put that on there. So therefore, I can't say that he didn't mean that. He had a mind state, and sometimes I think Pac was a little lost in some things that he got caught up in some things that he didn't need to be a part of. With West, because I don't ever think that East Coast West Coast war was really actually real. It was actually, you know what I'm saying, just media propaganda. But I do think that we have Bone said it clearly. We have a conscious choice of what to do. So just like you, except I didn't rap. I had a rap label and I had artists making music. And it came to a point that with some of the stuff that I had to tell them, like, all right, man, we're going too far with this. Because has to be something that, because we don't live this life. You know what I'm saying? Even though they said, yeah, we're in a label that came up with drugs Remy didn't come up with drugs, but then in all the lyrics of the song is talking about selling drugs or this. Like, man, who living like that? I ain't, because I'm out here working jobs and doing all that type of different stuff to get this company going. So therefore, and this is the thing that I don't like about music is what you said with rap music. You're held to a standard like you got to be keeping it real to actually be living exactly what you're saying. And in no other industry do you do that. A guy can make movies and make all type of movies about whatever it wants. He don't have to be tested to being real to live up to that. And I think
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, all of these guys making Scarface, making Godfather, all of these big boy movies. None of these guys are really participating in that stuff, and they're not supposed to be. And neither are we. Like, this is something else. This is something else that I had thought of, right? Like, just us as us. I'm talking about me, you, and Bone. Bruh. Me and Bone, talent show dancers. We dancing, we looking up to Scoop and Scrap Lover from Big Daddy Kane. We looking up to like artists like that. Like, and so we will look up to good artists that ain't necessarily violent. So it's not like that we just won't accept good music. But the problem is with these distribution companies, a point that I was trying to hit on last night. I really feel like these distribution companies are the main people that are associated with bringing drugs into America, bro. Because they are paying artists. They won't distribute you or certainly won't play you or give you no buzz if you're not talking destruction. Like, it's destruction or be independent and do it yourself and no distribution. You sell your song on YouTube. And so I'm trying to think, like, what kind of kickback is the record label getting for just making it the only program, the only type of music that they'll push? It's got to be negative. And it's the women too. Now, because I want you to go into what you were talking about earlier, where the double standard about men, women, and so on and so forth, so we can go down that lane, you know?
Yeah, because what I'm saying was looking at how a lot of the music that is made and men get held accountable for the misogyny of music, and it's talked about, and you wanting to ban that. Even like with Two Live Crew back in the day, they wanted to ban Two Live Crew. They wanted anything that's over sexual and all this and that, and the way that women were presented. But yet, like when Jasmine Sullivan come out and talking about busting your windows out the car, everybody's like, "Oh, women! Oh yeah, go good! You hear that song? Good."
It's
Oh,
funny.
women.
Exactly. It's funny, like, you know.
But I actually know women that's done been over to guys and busted windows out their cars, busted windows out their houses, and act like, oh, that's okay. So my point of saying that is, so if we look, and I've never, let me preface this, and I told you earlier, I've never listened to what was it, young boy NBA. I never listened to none of his music, so I don't know what he was saying, his music, this and that. But to him, or even we talking about Tupac, if we're going to hold them accountable for people's behavior because of listening to their music, then we have to do that with women too. So now when we have women that just emasculate men all the time, when we have those type of songs that's putting a man down, oh, if you ain't making X amount of dollars and doing this for me or doing that for me, then you ain't this or you ain't that. So the blame and accountability got to go both ways, and then everybody has to do a better part of doing it. But I don't think that with saying that artists have to be, should be where it's like, oh, you can only make this song or you can only make that song, because you ultimately got the right to choose what you want to listen to. But I want to know, well, how can busting your window out the car sell so much more than what NDRE sells, when NDRE speaks on love and or even some of Beyonce songs that are very anti-men. You know what I'm saying? But she's Queen B. But then you got NDRE that makes some beautiful love songs about marriage, relationships, and everything. And those get played, but not that type of play.
But I think that part of that is easy to find out is that, you know, just like bro was saying, the record executives, they have the power and influence to determine what's going to get airplay. And it's always been that way. Even when we were younger, you had Poor Righteous Teachers. You had, even like looking back now, groups like Common. You had what we call conscious rappers. You have people who are making songs like an NDRE. But the record executives, that's not who they want to look at and who they want to promote and give the limelight to. And that's what sells. You know what I mean? They're going to put the marketing dollars behind the acts that they say people want to quote unquote hear. But I mean, we know what good music is, and I think people still like to go and hear and see that. But you know, you're talking about a marketing like giant when you're talking about these big record labels put money behind their acts, like you said, Beyonce, and you know, whatever it is, take your pick. When you look at the rap artists that are big right now, it's the one that have those record labels behind them. And I don't think there's no way to escape that now, unfortunately, because I think there's still a lot of good music out there. It's just you have to make the choice to go and find it, and that's sort of the hard part.
Look at Ryan Oden in here. What's with my bro, man? Yes, sir.
Ryan?
Love you, bro.
And that is true, because I think there's an agenda put on black men now that they're using music, entertainment, and everything to emasculate black men. So now it's become okay for men to walk around with purses, it went from skinny jeans to now it's flat out with dresses and stuff like that. And dress how you want to or whatever, but I still feel that that's an agenda that's put out there to kind of emasculate black men. Because I mean, you can call it how you want to, a man bag or this and that. Man, that's a purse. Man, cats is walking around with purses. When they in line buying the same bag that the woman buying, man, that's a purse, man. You know, whenever it's said the dresses, the skirts, and like, come on, man, it has gone too far, and it's time that somehow we got to bring this back. We got to bring this back to some of the old school values. I know times changes and things change, but there's some old school values and core values that need to stay the same.
I'd agree with that. I think that
Yeah.
you definitely to have some. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, so you
You
want to
know
have.
what's kind of I'll tell you what I think is kind of messed up though, bro. It's like it puts a snag into our ability to actually create these things by having to like stick to this code that I'm keeping it real. You know, I mean, and I think that has probably died out just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because in all of our movies, but hold on, I might be talking a little too fast. In our movies, as well as our music, like when Menace to Society came out, when New Jack City came out, I was personally Nino Brown. I was Nino Brown the first day, you know, but okay, let's go to another smaller point that me and Cuz was talking about yesterday that's still kind of like in this same area.
And Cuz, before you make that point, and I want to ask the audience a question to chime in. What's their thought process on men wearing skirts, painted nails, and purses? And then, you know, let them chime in, see some of their comments, and you go ahead and make your point. My fault. But
no. Well, what we were talking about earlier was when we're talking about music, right? Part of it is it's the artist reporting what they see. They're living in this community, they're learning, they're seeing the news, they're doing this, that, and the third. And so they're simply just writing what they experience every day. To me, I don't think that that's right in order for us to censor that. Because how can the artist actually release and paint on his canvas? Like, you know what I'm saying? He releasing. Huh? That's one thing. But the problem is when they was actually like doing drive-bys and all of this other stuff in California or New York in these bigger cities, that hadn't got to Dayton yet. That hadn't filtered to Dayton yet. So we hadn't experienced that. So our first introduction to a drive-by, to maybe dope or crack in itself, may have came from music. So while on one hand, the artist is genuinely just expressing what he's seen and painting his canvas, at the same time, he's also introducing young, fresh minds to this new concept that they had never even heard before they heard his song. So where's the middle ground? Where's how do we
definitely has to come in?
Okay.
I think that and my fault, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think
no. I want you to jump in. That was good.
I think that definitely, because correct me if I'm wrong. I believe when we're having this conversation, we're talking about the impact of this music on youth. And clearly when you're talking about younger minds, younger individuals, they're impressionable. But I think you have to think about the fact that if you have a parent there, they're going to be able to correct any of the influence, I believe, that can be made by the music that you're listening to. I mean, we're all sort of test dummies when it comes to how the music impacted us. We had like I said, NWA, all those groups and all of the explicit lyrics, you name it, we experienced it. But I don't believe it was ever a big enough influence to alter my behavior to where I'm doing something that's going to be detrimental to me because of the music. It wasn't going to happen. My daddy would have went upside my head immediately. Like, what are you? Get it together. And it was a balance. What I do believe is that some people, they just get flooded with this stuff. My father introduced me to jazz music. I listen to other things other than just hardcore rap music all day. It's not my thing. Even now, as I've grown older, the content matters. Even if you have a good beat, if you're talking crazy, it's not necessarily something I would be interested in. And I hope that that's something that I can instill into my son, because he's young and he knew immediately who NBA Youngboy was. I'm like, Reem, I didn't know the music that he made, but Terrence did, and he was like, oh no, I don't too much deal with that. And he was, he told me about drill music. I don't too much know what that is. From what I understand, it's exactly what we talk about: people killing people, and they say it on the song, and it's actually what they do.
I think I got something. The way that we combat this music, and Bone, you just brought this out, honestly. The way that we combat music is family. You got to have the parents in the house in order to, the kids can listen to that all day. Dad, and I'm talking about Reem's dad, he literally rapped Dope Man with us, and we had it on tape, and we used to watch it all the time and laugh. But the difference was he was there in the house with his son, digesting the music, but that music didn't have a chance against Remy. It didn't, because mom and dad, so that's the answer to music. Family, parenting. Your kids can listen to that all day long if you have the parents in there to redirect, fix it, let the kids know that this is not that, essentially. And I'll pass the mic.
So what I was going to say, what Bone was saying about the music affecting the youth, I also think it does have an effect on the older generation also, because this is what I'm talking about. Like when I'm talking about the busting out the windows and stuff like that's hearing from NDRE. I'm talking, when I'm saying that, I know people that done that. I'm not talking about no 20-year-old girls. I'm talking about 40-plus-year-old women that has done that.
What kind of women you dealing with?
Man, I ain't dealing with none of them, man. What I'm saying is, I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about there's some people I know in my family that have done such things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not calling out no names on putting nobody's business out there, but this is what I'm talking about. I know of 40-plus-year-old women that have been out here behaving like that, and that's the issue. So of how does it affect people, period. But I don't think it's the music. I think the music isn't the problem. Whatever can be, like Cuz said, that music never got to me to affect me to think I was going to go out here and do anything that I heard in a rap song. It's not, because you still, regardless of what's going on with music or whatever, you have to be emotionally mature enough to digest the music and leave it at just what it is, with entertainment. And so that's why I say we have movies and TV shows and all that stuff. So are you so if you got movies and all that stuff out here that's still showing the same stuff for this and that, we can't just put it all on the music. You have to be mature enough to understand what's real and what's not real, and what's real and not real for you. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody else might be out here, like you said, rapping a song about something that they say, but that don't mean that that's your reality. Or sometimes entertainers have an ability to take somebody else's life. Like we talking about with Cuz, with Speakeasy. Gerald was great at being able, he could sit there and hold a conversation with you. Bone, you could give him a conversation about you and your wife, and he could make a song about it. Whether it was a good situation, some up and downs y'all was going through, or whether it was a positive situation. I've sit there and watched him do that, where he took conversations that he had with me and went and made songs about multiple things. So therefore, you can't censor artists, because there are things, and just because that may not be real to you, it's real to somebody else. And that's what music is to do, is to get you through. So you can't let music be an influence on you of everything is being negative, or because or we putting it on rap music because we hear rap music and say, oh, just because of this rap music, this is why this is going on and why that is going on. I don't think that's fair to put that on artists.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a catch-22 because now we've had enough evidence and enough data to realize that the music literally does affect how kids approach life. It's not fair to the artist, but maybe life ain't fair. I don't know what to do about this. I mean, except for build our family. I mean, that's what we need to do anyway. Family intact, kids be safe. Family out of whack, it's gonna be tough. So, cause like where you had dad in the house every day, and Bone, you had mom, you had Ron, you had your dad. Like me, we did have family, but my house was so loosely covered. It was so loosely covered that music, it did affect how I did things. And I don't really, I never thought it was, but now that I look back on it, I'm just looking at my life in the evolution of my life, where me and Bone was dancers, bro. I'm talking about in high school, 9th grade. We was the whole gym would be around me and my brother, and we'd be out there doing our routines that we made. This was 9th grade, 10th grade, and it was still cool, right? But then, there was just more music. It kind of happened a little bit more once I ended up getting expelled from school. Once I got expelled from school, then it was more like, yeah, I'm about to listen to the Spice One, and I'm about to go over on Neil with Dub and Deontay and get busy. So, you never know how life is gonna go and what will be your breaking point to just kind of go the other way. So that nurturing, that family unit, man, is so important, man. It's clutch. And I see my bro O'Neal is in the building. Man, O'Neal is in the
JR. That's JR. That's Jim.
What's up, nephew? That's Young King.
What's up, nephew?
Man,
what's up to Marco and Terrell, too?
Love nephew, bro. Love nephew. Me and nephew like this, bro. I ain't gonna even hold you, bro. But O'Neal, his pops is in a great position. Man, you should see the way O'Neal runs his school, bro. He runs it in a way where he's an authority figure, but he still kicks it with the kids so hard that he's making learning cool, man. I promise, man. I'll go and see O'Neal at least maybe once, twice a week. I'm in the school with him, and the kids come into the office. He got to give them some tough love. He give them tough love, but it's a whole lot of. It's hard to explain. I wish he was on here so he could just tell us his approach, but he does a good job, and I think that his blueprint, if it was put into more schools, the way that he treats his kids, I think that we would see better results with how our kids are acting when they're not in school. Because
the thing is and that's what you talk about with my pops, is that he was able to show me what's real. So I was never out here looking for something outside of the house or something that I heard in music to go emulate. So the problem with it's no problem when rappers are rapping and speaking about what they see. The problem that comes is when the kids out here are trying to emulate rap when that's not their life. Because what rap is doing is talking about what life is happening. So when they're seeing something out here and you're basically a reporter and you making a song of reporting what you see, that's cool. The problem occurs when somebody who has no business being in that lifestyle now listens to this music and thinks it's cool to go try to do this. That's where the problem comes with the music. So that's where you still need the guidance at for somebody to help you to kind of try to reel you back in.
I think with that too, man, I think it brings to light a bigger problem, and I think that is in any type of entertainment, we put way too much stock into things that we can't see, and we don't know. We don't know what these people are. We don't know what their backstory is, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's an athlete, whether it's an actor, actress, what have you. You don't know them. So if you want to emulate or have a role model or have somebody to, latch on to, it had best be someone that you can see and have a 24-hour representation of what they are and who they are. Because at the end of the day, those people in those positions can easily disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
They end up in the news for whatever the reason or whatever the case may be. And those people, you don't know them. You don't know how they live their lives. You don't know what they value, what their principles are, what their morals are. So at the end of the day, you shouldn't put much stock into what it is that you can't see, touch, and feel at all. And I think that's the bigger issue when you talk about whether music, athlete, anything. If you can't see it, that until you can, it's not real. And I think that's the thing that we need to hold on to, because you hear so many people, they see those things, even the stuff now that you see on social media, you hear people get so caught up in they can go from $0 to $1 million overnight because of Instagram or whatever they're doing in social media. And that just stuff, it really isn't real and it's not sustainable. So it's not to really put a lot of weight or stock into.
Some powerful comment right here. Powerful comment.
Nephew makes a great point here, and I definitely agree with that, because even with going back to Tupac, so it's how you try to, art is put out there for you to interpret it, and you can interpret it how you want to. So when I listen to a song like Ambitions as a Rider, with me being an athlete, that was something that motivated me to not only play in the game, but motivated me to get ready to go work out. And that type of stuff, like, oh, this is getting me a feeling of wanting to go do stuff. Because my ambitions as a rider, and I took that to mean this is my ambitions of trying to be a college basketball player, to try to be a pro basketball player. That was my ambition. So I didn't take what he was saying in that song and take it to be like, oh, I'm about to go out here and do something in the streets. I took it and applied it to what I do in my life, which was being an athlete. And that's what art allows you to do when people do it. So it's the abuse of it, of somebody taking something, because what we don't know is what was in Tupac's mind and his heart when he wrote the song. So you never know on what those lyrics actually meant sometimes with something. But now with this drill music that I hear that it's talking about actually killing and committing crimes, it's different. And I don't listen to that music, so I don't know how that plays a part of it. That's different. But when I'm hearing about kids being arrested, or these youngsters being arrested for their music because you actually did what was in your music, I just don't understand that, and don't think that that's too smart anyway. Why would you? And you talking about you keeping it real? Well, how real are you being that you actually get on a record and admit to your crime? That's not a good criminal.
I will have to admit though, and I know we all serious, but back when we were in like college, I think I knew what Akinyele was talking about, and everybody sort of moved by what he said in this song. If you know what Akinyele,
who, bro?
Akinyele. You don't know who Akinyele is?
You can put it in your
music. Is he an artist?
You can put it in your.
He only made one song.
Put it in your mouth.
There you go.
There you go.
Pause. Put it in your mouth. Pause. Hold on. Let's see. Remy, y'all called my NWA rapping back. Mexican country and Western rhyme without rhyme. Dad, hold on. Bro, I'm so glad, bro, he chimed in because bro, we had cuz it was Dope Man, the song that we used to laugh at all the time.
Yeah.
But Dad, like, man, I'm telling you, he was protecting us from that stuff, man. He heard what was going on and just like it was cool. And I listened to a lot of music with my son too. You know, and my son is able to decipher this stuff. You know, he don't fall away. But the thing about it is, it's just like I said, fathers are so key, man. Fathers are a big deal, man. And I don't think people should just for these young fathers and for my young kings. Mari is doing a great job, man, with my little nephew, man. And
yeah, Mari.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you guys have kids, and I'm sure that y'all got great role models with fathers. This ain't nothing. I'm not telling y'all nothing new, but just to reinforce, like, man, your child literally needs you for balance. You gotta have that father in there. And Will took it to another level. I like this comment that Will made because I think that this is true. More Black males are needed to actually teach and be a strong figure in the classroom, man. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, man, from what I've listened to, I hear that our Black boys are in school and they are active. They want to get up, they want to move around. It's hard for them to sit down, and there's this and that. And if they're being taught by a white woman, which is most of the teachers that are in our school system, they might not understand just the mannerisms of a Black man, a Black boy. They might think he's being outrageous and too off the chain, but that's just them not being familiar with the way kids act. So I think that a black man in the class teaching will, number one, let the kids identify with a professional that's actually a Black man to give them a different outlook on things that they could possibly be in life. And two, they'll look at him with at least a little more, I would say, fear. Maybe not. It's not the fear word. Maybe respect.
Definitely.
Maybe with a little more respect, and they probably won't try him as quick. So I think that's a great idea. I feel like we literally need that, you know. And salute to all the teachers out there, bro, because I know that it's probably much more difficult than what we think. Having to control a class of 10 kids, 15 kids, however many kids is in the classroom, and you trying to get everybody on the same page. And if you got one or two that's out of line, then they could throw everything off track. So, man, shout out to the teachers. I feel like teachers should be paid up there, because they are the ones that
if they was.
Huh?
I said I'll still be teaching if they was.
Yeah.
It's a thankless, demanding field that you don't really get a lot of thanks for. But what I have realized is, and I had been over here working on the house for mom and dad. I've been standing outside with bringing things in the house, and I've had a few students that I haven't seen in years that pulled up on me. And what you don't realize is the impact that you've had, because I had a few of them, you know, that have been in trouble, been incarcerated and stuff like that, and then tell me they still, and then flat out sat here and told me word for word things that I told them when they were coming up and things to look for and this and that. And they tell me how they never forgot the words that I said, and that they're making changes and stuff in their life. So you never know on how when you know the impact and influence that you have on these youngsters out here. And it is, but teaching is a thankless field. But I do think that the music aspect of it is great, and it's other ways of how music can also be impactful. So let's look at some of what are called our best bands. The best bands around is the HBCUs, and the HBCUs are giving scholarships to young Blacks to come in and and really taking music to another to a great level. So like Ohio State just paid Grambling a bunch of money to come in. Best believe it was not for the football team to come in and be beat 73-0. They paid that money because they wanted Grambling to bring their band to do exactly what they did. You probably have seen more about the band and Grambling's band performing than you did on the football game. And so the thing that I want to know is what's happening to these musicians and stuff like that when it comes to going to the professional industry and that type of stuff, as far as making music that we then get into the music that is counterproductive to the society. What are happening to the young Black musicians that are coming up in these HBCUs?
Are you saying as far as making being a musician as a career?
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What is happening to them? Are they getting opportunities or making transitions into being that, or are they going back to their communities and just teaching music to the next generation to go on the bands and stuff? Just not nothing that I think that we're going to be able to answer here tonight, but just a thought process of what is happening to these musicians that are being developed at these HBCUs and these bands. Because these bands are this is some of the best entertainment you ever seen. You got bands going around, they performing at all these parades or presidential inauguration, all type of things from Howard's band to TSU band to Grambling's band to Southern's band, like and many more other bands, you know what I'm saying, Jackson State band and all the other, but this is what's happening. So these are great musicians. What is taking place with these musicians after leaving these HBCUs?
I think the HBCU need. I mean, it's not the HBCU; it's the musician himself needs to put it together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's in control of his own destiny. Any help from HBCU or anybody else is well received. But you're a great musician, man. Go and take your talent and figure out the best route for you. I'm sure that they do.
Yeah, compose. I'm just wondering, just a question that I have for thought, like, you know what I'm saying, because I know how entertaining
you don't really hear about it.
Yeah, right. Because how entertaining that it is that from going to a HBCU, like you look forward to, hey, what's about to happen with the battles of the bands? You know what I'm saying? What the band's about to do. This is what you look forward with seeing. I mean, Central always had a great band for years and all that type of stuff, and this is what you wanted to see. So that there's great musicians coming out of there. So I'm just wondering, are they making? Maybe they may not want to be professional musicians as far as moving into the realm of making mainstream music or this and that. I don't know. Just a question. I wonder what is happening, because we are having greatness definitely coming out of the bands.
I think in those cases, though, I think that those opportunities to make being a musician a profession, I would assume they're few and far between, and I think it would make it even more difficult for someone coming from an HBCU, simply because, say for instance, you are in an orchestra or you've been playing music in an HBCU, and the brand and style of music that you play is not necessarily catering to what those potential professional jobs would be when you go out into, say for instance, I know, like, I would think a great job would be in a, say for instance, in a or playing as a part of an orchestra or whatever the case may be. But I don't think that the music that they play is going to be, in most cases, the same as what you're going to be seeing primarily at a HBCU, especially those musicians that did a lot playing in a marching band versus an orchestra or in a concert band. It's just a little different. And I think that a lot of them, they wouldn't get the opportunities that people would get from PWI that are playing in a band to have those professional opportunities. I'm thinking like possibly in music for film or for movies and that sort of thing, where I think you probably can make a lot of money doing that. Because I think that's the biggest thing. Where are you going to be able to make a profession of it and make the kind of money that you want? Or you just want to use that experience playing in a band at a HBCU to get your degree and then ultimately use your degree to make a profession? I think that's the thing they have to weigh out.
Hey, let me say this to Will right quick. Will, when Morehouse Band gets nominated for a Grammy like TSU's did, then we'll mention them.
Shots fired.
Oh, yeah, 2 Jams. But one thing, and before we wrap it up, right? One thing that I don't want to do, because we did do a whole lot of talking about brothers and sisters and like where we going wrong and so on and so forth. But I don't want to do the podcast without shining the light on the man that's like sneaking, sleeking, and in the back collecting the check from all of the destruction that they distributed. Like there's, you know, man, I want to see one day where black people distribute terrible things about other people. You know what I'm saying? Because like it seems like, man, we are everybody's exploit. Everybody exploits us. Like you get a white man, or you get a Jewish man, or you get somebody that is really profiting off of our own music, our destruction, and this exploitation of our women and so on and so forth, the misogyny. But I've yet to see a black man make one of these movies or distribute one of these songs that is other people being disparaged. My boy Chodo brought up a good point. One time we was talking, and he said that he had a concept that he wanted other nationalities to rap a song, but every time that they say the N-word in the song, he wants them to replace it with one of these other nationalities. So when you're talking about I'll unalive some N-word, but replace it with another name. And then you start seeing how bad that this stuff really sounds like. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, oh, I'll do that to an Italian, or I'll do this and that to some German, or I'll do this and that to some, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll do this to some Israeli. I'll do this and that to that. Like it's always acceptable for us to hear about some bro or sister like losing a life or being beefed on or getting a woman taken or something. But like, let's replace that with one of these other nationalities and see how it sounds. Because I feel like we became desensitized to basically black violence, black exploitation, black this, black that. Like it's all like, okay, bet. Let's make them the crash test dummies for all of this stuff. Just like Bone said earlier, like we literally are the experiment of seeing how music will actually affect an impressionable child. Now we've came up with a solution to like have a strong family and
but
will help.
bro,
Yeah,
I think part of your statement is true, and I think part of it is sort of off. And what I mean by that is if you had another group of people to have a racially disparaging comment in their music, I don't think their people would support, but I think that's the issue. We do. And we have made that profitable. And I think that is the thing. The biggest point is that if we had, say, for instance, a music, like if we owned a record label, truly owned a record label, I think we have made some unbelievable music leading up to this point in history. Yeah. But if we were able to control what it was and truly control the music that we made, and specifically the rap and the R&B and those things, and we had, you know, a consensus to say, we're not going to say the N-word. You're not going to be talking about, you know, your over-sexualizing. And I think the cream will rise to the top, and I think that there will be a lot better music, a lot better quality music. But I think at the core of that, I think we can make that hot. We would support it and make it hot. But I do think there are some people that would not like it, because you would be talking about lifting black people. If you're talking about something that's positive and it's not kill. You may have some people that'll be like, oh, I don't like that quite as much. That don't sound. And that's sort of.
But look, we loved Public Enemy. We loved X-Clan. We liked De La Soul. We liked Poor Righteous
No, when I say
Teachers.
some people wouldn't like it, I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, the other. Yeah.
But, yeah, we would make it hot for sure.
We did love them, but they also were not the highest selling artists.
Not by even close.
But I think right now, and we talked about this on our Conscious Conversation podcast before. When you really look at the highest selling artists, a lot of them are kind of positive. They're not as like crazy gangster as the like a Kendrick Lamar. You know, we just seen him go crazy like last year where everybody was loving Kendrick Lamar. Even a Drake. Drake was a big time artist, okay? And he didn't really live in a world of gangster rap. But he still rapped and he was great and his art was appreciated. J. Cole, as Junior brought up a little bit earlier, man, he's a top selling artist. So I don't think that you necessarily have to like capitulate to the death music in order to be a good selling artist. But I don't know if it turns you up enough in order for it to be like deeply entrenched in the community. You know what I'm saying? Like they sell the good music will sell, but will it permeate the streets?
Yeah, I feel as black music has always been the best music, and it's the music that's been most emulated, stolen. How many times have you heard songs that were recorded by the Beatles or somebody else, only to find out that there was really a black artist who recorded that song first?
Right.
And so we have been the ones that have definitely been used and abused through the music. So I don't want to make it seem like it's always that we make nothing but negative music. That's not it. There's a lot of positive music that we have made throughout the years and generation. And I just think that it just has to be a balance with it. And I think that regardless of what is put on music, the person listening to it has to be emotionally mature and not be led off of what it says. You know what I'm saying? If you're listening to some music that is, talking about with relationships or this and that, if you got a good marriage at home and you listen to a song that's a breakup song, you know what I'm saying, and to the end of the road, you're not about to go home and break up with your wife because of the music, because you listen to this song. So we have to be able to differentiate the art from the artist and separate what you're getting and enjoy the music without internalizing it and making it a part of your life. The same way that you watch a movie, you're not watching Scream and then putting on a mask and then walk around and killing people. Right. So you can be able to listen to music, enjoy music and what it's talking about, or whatever it is, and then leave it at that.
And on the real, for real, it's only like maybe a few. I ain't gonna say that because it is a lot of people that really get, but I'm talking about like really get in it and do something like extreme, like the fight that we seen. Like that is like taking it too far. But I do think that it has furthered drug culture in our community.
And let me say one thing about that too, that we talk about where how behavior messes up everything. You do realize that when that incident took place, NBA YoungBoy had another concert that was supposed to take place in Chicago that was canceled. So because of this young man's inability to maturely behave and move when you was asked to move to the section of what your ticket paid for, and you do that, you now have hurt the artist and his pocket too. Because the rules that gonna happen for us when behavior happens in this type of stuff get canceled. So now these people that you want to go see and the artists you making the music, you're affecting their pocket too.
He'll be on tour with NBA YoungBoy NBA young boy gonna find that little kid and give him a job. And then all the other little kids will be like, I know what I gotta do at the next concert.
And,
I'm about to see what it says.
And that would be a problem because now you're rewarding negative behavior, and that's what I hope that does not take place.
But in a way, it will be rewarding. But what about like getting that kid into a better place? Like NBA young boy finds him and say, like, hold on, bro, let me mentor you. Because NBA young boy, like from what I've seen, he moved out to Utah. But I think he may have caught a case out there, but now he's released. But it seems like he was trying to change his life for the better and do better. And I seen him doing interviews talking about his kids and him being a father and stuff like that. So something else me and you talked about earlier today, cuz, was the ability to be able to mature. Mm-hmm. Man, as a young kid, bro, you'll do things then that you would never do it once you make it to 50 years old.
Right.
You know, so part of this stuff is giving people a chance to mature. And we have over enforcement of the law in our community. And we have just like they do in sports, where you just dismiss the black quarterback and say, we tried him and it's over. Like, I think that we might throw away our kids like that too, before we give them a chance to actually mature and say, he beat up that man like that. Now let's give him 20 years in jail. Hold on now. Like, I did look at the picture. I looked at the picture of the man that got beat up. The old man.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at his picture, I seen racist.
For shits and giggles. For shits and giggles. Well, let me say this. We're looking at it. I don't necessarily say that the young man should get 20 years, but there has to be some consequences to his behavior. So he may get a couple years or something like that, because again, that type of behavior can't be overlooked and that stuff. And so my message to the younger kids is coming up. Yeah, we know now that we are matured at 50-year-old men, and we know we did some things when we were younger, this and that, and we had the opportunity to grow and mature. My thing to this younger generation now, with what's going on in life, y'all don't really have the opportunity to get second chances. There's not a lot of second chances because there's so many things that are taking them up out of here. So you better respond. And we also face that. Also, there's a lot of people that we grew up with that didn't get a second chance to make a mistake or get that chance to grow, because something that they did or action that they took ended up taking them up out of here. Whether it was to prison, to the grave. And then sometimes maybe in this situation for that young man, maybe going to prison is the best thing that can happen to him. Maybe that saves his life, because maybe he's been out here living his life in a way that's very destructive, and maybe he need to go sit down for a minute in order to get himself a second chance to wake up, so that he can come out here and live better. So that would be my take on that. But
the only thing I would add is that at that age, you do have to realize the stakes are extremely high, man, and any little thing can sort of derail what you had planned out.
Hey, bro, Dad rocks with me, bro.
For shits and giggles, it's gonna happen on here.
You know, man.
The sad part is I knew what was coming. I knew it.
That's why he started laughing. He couldn't even finish it because he knew where we was already laughing at him. Like, I know where it's coming.
Bro, listen, I literally did look at his picture, and I was thinking to myself, like, bro, did he do something to deserve that on another level that we just don't know about? And
Karma exists out here in this
I
world.
thought that it was possible. I definitely looked at his picture and I thought that it was possible. You know, so we don't know. Dad,
Karma
no,
exists.
Dad said, yeah, he done something in 66 years to earn that. that came back, boy. That was a 50-year karma. Back when he was 16 himself, he beat up an old black man just like that. You know what I'm saying? And now 50 years later, here come that black man's grandson on some NBA young boy on him. No, all right. I'm back off.
I'm just gonna let you keep going.
Definitely possible.
Only on the For Shits and Giggles podcast.
Only on For Shits and Giggles, man. All right, y'all, what's up, man? What we got, man? Let's wrap it up. What y'all got for the people, bro?
Oh, just want to tell everybody watching, we'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be back. So today was a special edition episode. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have our sports episode tomorrow, but we'll be back on Tuesday. 9 o'clock on Tuesday, or so 9 o'clock on Tuesday. We'll be looking forward for everybody.
Y'all didn't have no picks, so that'll just be next week too.
Yeah. We'll do all.
I'm sorry about our picks. Oh, hold on. No. Wait a minute.
In
our group chat, we need to pick our team.
We'll do our picks amongst us. We just won't televise it. So we just do it and I have it written down, and then we can go over the results still.
Y'all fighting for second place, man. It's all right.
I want to get you, bro. But I do like the fact that our football expert is winning. I mean, come on. We got experts, baby. We got experts around here. You know what I'm saying? When basketball comes around, Reem gonna win. You know what I'm saying? Type stuff.
All right. So
hey, but let me say this real quick, man. To our audience, man, to our chat, man, bro, I really appreciate all of the comments and the love, bro, because that makes the show go. And your comments actually gives us fuel and keeps our conversation flowing. So, man, thank y'all so much, man, for chiming in and checking in with us.
Thank you. So we'll save our For Shits and Giggles for Tuesday episode. And so thank you everybody for tuning in. We look forward to being back with you on Tuesday for another sports episode of For Shits and Giggles.
Man, another great show, man. We love everybody. See y'all Tuesday, man. All right. Peace. Wait a minute.
All right.
Hold on, cuz. I'm sorry.